me try and send you an invite back, Fletch, see if that works.
Hello.
Oh, hello. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
You can't see me? Oh,
No,
no.
but I can hear you, which is good. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you, mate. I can see myself as well, so I don't know what's going on.
No, that's right. You should be able to see yourself. You should see two
Yeah,
people.
I see two people, mate.
That's
How
right.
about you now? I
That's
sorted it
right.
well.
I might. That might means I might talk over you from time to time because I can't see you. But I'm assuming. Can the audience just let us know if they can see both of us? You should be able to. It should be my end because it's Instagram, and that's how it goes. So anyone in the audience, can you? Oh, yeah, there you go. Alfie Stevens shouts Fletcher, so I'm assuming that he can see you. Can you see me as well? Oh, we can see both.
Right.
Parky says he can see both of us. That's great. Then I'll just go blind. It'll just be me talking to myself. How are
Awesome.
you?
Yeah, Maddie, I'm great, thanks. Thanks for giving me half an hour more. I've burnt my tongue on a hot potato.
That's no problem. I
All
didn't
this
realise
well.
you could. I guess Lawrence works you hard in the old dungeon way, makes you paint.
Nah, not too. We just finished an hour later. Like we finished at 6 instead of 5.
Right.
Like norm, you know. So have to rush home and get some food in.
No problem there. Thanks for coming on. It's great to have
Oh,
you on. Um,
thank you for having me.
I need to apologise in advance for some of the questions because I don't know if you've seen one of my streams before. I asked for questions at the start a week before and then the day before, and I've got some oddballs who asked some odd questions. So
I'm looking forward
apologies.
to it.
That's all right. That's okay then. That's okay. So first of all, just before we get into these questions, I just wanted to ask you. So you know a Golden Demon winner, which congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
What started you on the journey of painting? Where did this start?
Well, I had the two phases like most people do, you know. So when I was about 12 or 13, I think that was my. Oh, my camera's wobbling a bit.
So I can't.
We'll leave it. we'll leave it there. But yeah, started at 12 or 13. Back when I was a young one, and I think I saw a white dwarf or something in WH Smith, and I saw this little night goblin mini. It was attached to it, and I was like, "Hey, that's neat. I'm going to pick that up." And yeah, I just had a blast reading it. I think it was like it had Grombendil on the cover or something, and this little night goblin. I painted up with my 4 paints and stuff. Still wish I had it. Yeah, I don't know where it is now, but that was like the first kind of thing. I did it for a couple of years. I collected an Elder army and an Imperial Fist army, and that disappeared too. But then, yeah, went to sixth form and uni, and then had a little break, and picked back up in 2015 or something when I was living in London doing a placement year, and I just I just fancied going along to Tottenham Court Road. I saw this Tau start collecting box on the shelf, and I was like, "That's really cool. I like mech suits in the color red, so let's give this a crack." And that's when it started. Yeah, I just try my best to copy the box art, and I looked at people's posts on Reddit and stuff like that for inspiration too. And ever since from then till now, I've been painting most days probably.
And when did you realise that you were incredibly talented, or did that just take practice, or was that like did you wake up one morning and go, "I'm really good at this"?
Oh, thank you. I don't really. I know that I'm pretty good, but I still like see it as in that way. To be honest, like I still self criticize pretty hard, but yeah, I think I got a pretty good knack for it. I was just the first kind of thing was following the YouTube tutorials like Duncan did, and just being neat with your edge highlights and stuff. And I think I was pretty decent at doing that, and I was like, and that's when I started getting a bit obsessed with it, you know. And yeah, just from there, I just wanted to improve and develop, and yeah, that I guess that's where I started.
So how did you get involved with the TT guys? When did that come about?
So yes, it's a great story actually. So Lawrence and the crew used to film in London. They were based in London in his flat, filming in his kitchen. And when he upgraded to the next studio in Bath, he ended up moving to a place called Bath Eastern, and the local pub he went to, funnily enough, I was working in it. And I was a massive fan of the show at the time. I've been watching like 4 or 5 years. And I saw one day that he had taken a selfie with himself and Bone, and the name of my pub was behind it. And I was like, wait, I work there. That's awesome. So I wasn't on shift. So I actually just drove down because I really wanted to meet them. And yeah, went in and introduced myself. So I like painting, and then it didn't start there, but that's when the relationship was formed. And every time he was in, I kept showing him stuff on my Instagram, and he seemed to like it. And then one day he asked me to do the Tau Army for us. So then I did this like 4K Tau Army in like a few months for him, which was my first ever project for him. And then I was freelance for a couple of years. I did the Tau, I did the Flesh Terrors. That was the second one I did for a good few months. And then finally, when Rob decided to leave and move on, he gave me a call. And I've been a full-time artist since 2022, at the start of it, up until now.
And where were you at UK Games Expo?
I was doing a deep clean of my house because it's been it needed it, and I was all like kind of I went to like Adepticon, and I went to the artist MPO, a big competition, and I just needed some time to fall back into the norm, you know, because I went so hard at both those events, and I just needed to catch up with my personal life and stuff. I really wish I was there, but I'm sorry, but maybe next time.
But yeah, you missed me hijacking their podcast.
Yeah, I did see you take some selfies with the guys. Were they nice to you?
Yes, yeah. I also hijacked their podcast. They only did a live podcast from there. They're asking for questions, and they made the mistake of giving me a microphone. And I was going around getting people to say hello to a guy on Instagram called Norse Paints, who's based out in Norway and really wanted to come to the expo and couldn't get there. So I asked them and the entire audience to say hello, Norse Paints on camera. And to be fair, they did. It could have really gone two ways. I could have been kicked out, or they were going to say it.
No, they wouldn't kick you out. Although Lawrence is known to bully some people from time to time.
All right, do you want to elaborate on that? And Lawrence ever bullied you in the workplace?
Probably not in public.
So a few questions we've had. Obviously, the audience, the chat can chip in with questions anytime they like, but a few questions we've had in advance.
Sure.
First one is from Shane Nubicron on Instagram, who's a big Tau fan. He said, this is no question. Give me your Farsight model.
No.
No, I don't ask me now.
Oh, mate. I wish I could. I really do, but that took a bit more time than I would have wanted. So hit me up if you want some tips, though. And we do have a full painting tutorial on our website if you want to go and pick one up yourself.
Did you repose that Farsight as well?
Did repose it. I just wanted it to be a snowflake, you know, and have something different. So it wasn't too bad. I remember the legs were quite good to like, because they're in that wide stance, and I just put them narrow together like he's hovering, and then I had to cut off the wrist for his sword to go out of the angle because his normal pose is like this with his sword behind him. So that was the most tricky bit. But once I got the wrist cut off and I swiveled it round, then yeah, I got the pose I liked. And I really want to do another one now because I just come back from the MPO, like I said, and there was a beautiful Tau model by a guy called Argyle Tau on Instagram, and his looks amazing. So I do want to have another crack at it.
Off the back of that, what attracts you to Tau? Because obviously Tau are quite a controversial faction. They're very Marmite. People either actually really like them or really don't like them. There's no in between with Tau.
I think there's an in between with Tau. I think that kind of Marmite thing's been ever since they're out, which was like, what's that, like 15 years or something,
It's
or longer?
2000 and, I want to say 2001.
Is it?
So yeah, over 20 years
Oh
now.
my goodness, that's crazy, isn't it? But yeah, there does seem to be a bit of a Marmite thing going on, but I reckon for some people it's like I've got a few mates who don't really care about them, but I just like the just the suits. They're just really cool. I really like the aesthetic. I'm painting a couple of ghost kills right now for the channel, and I just like the way you can they're quite quick to get through. You know, like you don't need to do too much texture because like the panels are flat, and you just need to do edge highlights if you want to bash it up quickly. You can do some like cool glowy light effects and stuff like that, and I don't know. I just like the Gundam look.
Are you a big anime fan outside of 40K, or is it
Not
just
too much, actually. No. I've watched the classics like Death Note and oh, I love Attack on Titan. That's an amazing show. But not too much other than that. What about you? Do you watch much anime?
um, outside, I really like Dragon Ball. No, but Shane is a massive. The reason I asked is because Shane's a massive. Nubicron's a massive Tao fan, but
Oh,
he's also a really huge anime fan. You know, the people that know all these
yeah, I
characters
do.
and what they do and the backstories. He's a massive. So I guess that he's really my only exposure to. To Tau players, really. He's the only Tau player that I know, personally. So I just assume that you're all really into anime. That's why you like Tau.
I guess I'm the exception.
Well, answer your mentions, I was just asked, have you got a favorite
I
Gundam series?
don't know. I'm so sorry. I picked one up when I was in Thailand once, like a model, but that's as far as my interest into it goes. I'm afraid. Do the Transformers count as Gundam, like the old series?
You funny
I don't know.
you should say that. I saw a meme on Instagram this morning. It was the same guy doing both parts, but he was a Gundam player, a Gundam collectivist, a Transformers collector, and it was a bit like I was already assembled, and he was like dropped his kit on the floor.
Oh,
It's just weird that you mentioned Transformers and Gundam because I guess there is that sort of they're both big machines, aren't they?
yeah.
Big robot, I
There is
guess.
an obvious like visual crossover for sure. Um,
So, so are you a big Transformers fan then?
I do like the Transformers. I didn't really watch much of the original series, but I think Transformers, the 2007 Michael Bay one, that's an amazing film. I rewatched it the other night, and it's so good. Like it's crazy how some CGI from back then like is better than like today's stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
There are some great scenes like when oh, who's the guy? Ironhide, and he does like this. He does this like front flip, and he blasts the ground with his cannons, and like goes back over in slow mo, and I'm just like, ah.
I do feel like those films, the CGI's got worse
Yeah,
since we've gone on.
I think it's because they just want to pump it all out, don't they?
Yeah,
But some of the films back in the day, like Dead Man's Chest, like Davy Jones's face, his you know the tentacles and stuff, looks absolutely amazing, and that was 15 or so years ago.
yeah,
Mad, isn't it?
yeah. It was. Yeah, I'm feeling old now.
Oh, me too. I'm sorry.
um, Speaking of MPO, one with the Hat Does 40K did ask, why did you choose the plane as your MPO entry?
um, so it was a Christmas present to me from my mum a couple years ago, and it was sat on my floor for so long, and mum kept nagging about it me for like the last year and stuff, and my condition was to paint it was getting the demon, and it just wasn't. I was prepared to put like everything on hold until that happened. So when I got the demon, I was like, right, I can actually unpack this kit and put it together. And it wasn't really for MPO. I just decided to do it for that deadline. It wasn't like a competitive mindset. But I messaged Andy Wardle from Co-op Paint, and he said I asked him if I could bring it, and he's like, hell yeah! So I was like, cool, I'm gonna do it for this deadline. And basically that's how it happened. My mum gave it to me. I'm a massive fan of the plane, the history. I think it's one of the best looking aircrafts ever. it's 60 years old, and it looks like it could have been released last week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I was very proud to bring it along, and it was like a lot of people were shocked at how big it was. It was absolutely ginormous. It had its own like little special table and stuff, and I was quite happy with that.
You went to see it as well, didn't you, to get some ideas? Did I see that on? It was just photographs. Look at you went. You actually did go to see it, didn't you, at the museum?
What was that? Sorry.
Did you
Oh
go?
yeah,
Yeah.
that was way before I had the model. Actually, that was 2022, and
Oh,
my mate
right.
David Gizmo on Instagram. He actually lives in Duxford, opposite the whatever the Duxford Museum. I can't remember what it's called, but I like to visit him and look around there and stuff. And I he's very lucky. We're very lucky that we have a Blackbird in the UK, and I'm even luckier that my mate lives literally opposite it. So we just stroll in, have a look, and I think that's where the first bit of love for this plane came from.
So did you use some of those photographs as a reference when you were painting it as well?
Not those particular ones. I didn't really wasn't planning at the time to build a 1/48 scale Blackbird, but I looked up tons of stuff online from different planes across the years, and I even set like the cockpit as my my desktop when I logged on in the evening, just to have a look at all like little details. I just like paying. Oh, but there it is, my desktop. It's most convenient, you know. But yeah, I certainly trawled through a ton of reference photos.
So, how did you find that compared to, say, painting a Land Raider? Did you apply all the same styles, or was it a little bit different? How did you find that?
It's totally different, mate. It was a lot harder than I thought it was, because with the GW stuff, you can really kind of get away with building it not perfectly, you know what I mean? But with those kind of kits, you have to like fill every gap to make it look good, and make it flush and stuff like that, and sand it all down, and all these kind of things, and the kit was a madness to me, because like the two engine turbines at the back, the way they designed it, it had like a massive gap running all the way down it, and it was just the most difficult thing to get rid of. And I must have got through like 50 quid worth of sandpaper, probably more than that, throughout the entire project, and more time I think I spent sanding than anything else in the whole project. So it was it was very, very different. It was a lot harder, but more satisfying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at least I didn't have to edge highlight it. So that was a plus.
That is very true. We have a question just come in, and so Taito 89 Camino, what do you think about Custodies girls? Now, I know I've got long hair, but I'm not a girl.
Really?
And I don't think Fletcher is either. But I'm guessing you're asking what we think about female custodies. So, I mean, you got any thoughts on that at all, Fletcher?
I don't feel too strongly about it. I'm a bit indifferent. I think if it includes more people into the hobby, that's a great thing. And yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion about it. I think it's great if more women join the hobby.
Personally, I think I've stated it before on previous streams, because it does seem to still be a question months later. I mean, I'm a big Custodies player. I'm challenging Stig for how many Custodies models I've got. But I'm neither here nor there. I wasn't really bothered. Obviously, I got the codex. I read it in the codex. I'd seen it before I got the codex, that that little snippet that got leaked. For me, it doesn't really matter. All I wish that had happened, I wish they'd have done it differently. I wish they would have released some lore behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like Taito just said, what about lore justification? That's what I was just getting to. I wish they'd have released some lore behind it, because obviously it has changed. If they'd released some lore behind it and given us a female Custodies model, I think I would have been on board with it. really. I think the controversy has really come from the way Games Workshop handled it. Really, I think that they just sort of slipped it in there, told us they'd always been there, and then just left it. And I think if they'd have done it differently and they'd have done it better, I'd have been over the moon with the new custodies model. And then yeah, I'd have been over the moon with the female custodians model. And if they'd give me a law justification for it, like a law reason for it, then I'd have been more than happy. And I think 99% of people who've objected would also. I don't think people are objecting to female custodians so much as they're objecting to the way they were introduced. I think they're two separate things, and we need to think. I mean, that's what we need to concentrate on. I think you don't want. We haven't got a community of bigots, as it were.
Yeah.
We've got a community who really get behind the law, and we're just really disappointed that the way they're introduced. And I think that's what it came down to.
I agree with you. I think they were kind of shoehorned in and like a single sentence, wasn't it? With no past history about it. So that wasn't great. But I think at the end of the day, you make the hobby for you what it is.
Yeah.
And you can choose to have all male or female custodies, and that's great for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And like I say, I think it was just handled badly, and I think that's where a lot of the controversy came from. Right, moving right along. I'm going to ask you about Golden Demon because I've got quite a good goal. I've got a serious question in here, so I'm going to move right along to Golden Demon. So, talk us through how Golden Demon works. I know that the Grand Champion, as it were, gets the Slayer sword, but then you've got your little Golden Demon statues, which is one of the ones that you won. Talk me through the process, because I'm not 100% au fait on Golden Demon, I'm not going to lie. So talk me through how it all works.
Sure thing. So I'll use, it changes, it can change slightly year to year, but I'll go through the one I went to. So you first have these different categories that you can enter, like single 40k miniature, single AOS miniature, a squad, large monster vehicle 40k or AOS, and I think there's like 13 of them or something like that. And basically you can enter one piece per category, and you can go into how many categories you want. So there's that to start with, and then for judging you start. They started with you put me on the spot here. I think there was a notable award. I think there was like a sticker for that, so I can't quite remember. But then there is a finalist pin, which is the next round. So if you get notable, we can get the finalist pin. And then from there you get commended. So you get a nice little commended card. And each time it gets fewer and fewer, obviously. So I think there are about 5 or 6 commended cards per category that all the entries got. And then from those commended, you get the bronze, silver, and gold. And there's only one of each of those you can get. There's only 3 trophies per category. So it does get very competitive for that reason. And finally, for the sword, it's all the golds compete against each other for it, and then one person gets chosen from those golds to win the Slayer sword. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Did I rush through that?
Yes. Because obviously, if you go through Warhammer World, the big Slayer sword is on the wall, the top of the first flight of stairs, and the exhibition. And I know I didn't realise that you get to keep the Slayer sword as well until a couple of guys from the painting phase were fighting with their Slayer swords in the car park.
Yeah, I watched that one. That was quite funny. That picture wasn't in the car park.
Yeah, I didn't realise you got to take that thing home with you.
Yeah, I don't think you'd take it home on the flight. I think it gets sent because you might have some trouble getting through the airport. And
where are you going to put it in your house? It's massive.
I'd hang it on, like guitar like hooks you have on your wall to hang the guitars from. I'd probably just like that, to be honest, if I ever got one.
Yeah, because it's absolutely huge. So you won, was it a silver?
Yeah, I got silver. Yeah, I got silver. I entered epic scale, so like your Imperius Legion Imperialis and the old Aeronautica kind of scale kind of games, and I entered in that and got got a silver with my. Oh, I think I need some more coffee. With my tiger shark.
I, 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 I mean, it's a really epic miniature that you did. But was it? Have you entered before? Was that the first time you've ever entered?
It's the it's the third year
Oh, right.
I've entered. I entered my first one was in Warhammer World in 22. I entered with a Shadow Sun. The next one was 23 at Fest with the waterfall drone diorama thing, and finally, yeah, this one was the tiger shark. So it's all very Tau themed, and I was determined to win with my Tau, and here we are.
How did that feel? Did you go to Germany?
No, I didn't go to Germany. That's later on this
Oh,
year.
right. Okay. That's me showing my ignorance as well.
That's
I
okay.
thought Golden Doom was in Germany this year. I thought you'd gone to Germany. So where was it held this year then?
I went to Chicago, US.
Oh, was it? Oh, right. Yeah.
Adepticon,
Okay.
yeah.
Adepticon, yeah.
In March. That's the first time I went to America, actually, so it was a nice experience. Yeah, visiting.
So how was it? How was the whole thing?
The
How did it
vibe was
feel?
really good. I think the most stressful part was traveling there with the entries and stuff, because we bought these nice containers and stuff, but putting them in the overhead bins, and because we were the last on the plane, so I wasn't like actually below mine. I had to walk further down the plane, and then my buddy's his thing next to him, he didn't put it in. He put it under his seat, but it like had a malfunction and down and like mauled this flight attendant's thumb in it or something, and then like the suitcases fell out and stuff, and we were like, that could have been. She was fine, by the way, but but when we landed on like Earth and we put our entries in the cabinets, we were like, oh, now we can actually enjoy America now. But Chicago is a lovely place. We tried the deep dish pizza, that was lush. We had some really nice donuts. American portions are no joke. That is true. We learned that quickly. Have you been to America before?
I used to live in Minnesota. I've been to Chicago quite. I've been to Chicago once.
Oh, really?
I lived in Minnesota for about 12 months. So yes, is the answer. Yes, I have. But yeah, Chicago. I mean, we used to say Minneapolis was like a smaller, more chilled Chicago, because Chicago is huge.
Yeah.
Did you go to Second City? I don't know if that's still there. The comedy club. Did you manage to check that out?
We didn't know. We did this boat tour. We had a nice little architecture tour. That was really nice. We went to this massive museum with a T-Rex in it. That was one of the first things you saw, I think. Can't remember what that was called. But just general going around having nice food and stuff like that. No comedy clubs. But I had the best burger I've ever had in my life, and it was in this like little dingy diner kind of style place, and it was like $9, but it was only like bun, meat, and cheese. But like, I think like stuff like that is like simply is just if you get it right, then you get it right. You know, it was absolutely gorgeous, man.
Yeah, the mom and pop places are the best places to go. Avoid the chains. That'd be my advice for anyone going to the States. Avoid the chains and go to the little mom and pop independent places, because the food's just better.
Yeah,
it really is.
How come you were there for 12 months, man? What
well, I used to go back and forth there all the time. I was at the time I was with somebody who was American, and that's where she lived. So I was back and forth there all the time. And then I was there for a while. And then after we parted ways, I came back to the UK. But I got a lot of stuff. I haven't been to America now for about 14 years.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah, I do miss it. It became like, obviously it was a second home, literally a second home.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do miss the vibe, especially Midwest. I mean, Chicago, so you've got Milwaukee, Chicago, and you've got like Wisconsin, Minnesota. They're all Midwest, and Illinois, obviously Chicago. They're all Midwest, and the vibes there. They call it Midwest nice, because everyone's really, really nice.
Oh.
Everyone's really friendly. People ask you how you are, and they actually want to know. They're not just
that
saying
doesn't really happen here, does it?
No, not at all.
Go to the tube in London, and everyone's like, don't make eye
Exactly.
contact, guys.
Exactly. London's a lot like New York, but once you get into the Midwest, people are very, very, very friendly.
Yeah.
You can like you go into a store to buy something, especially with an English accent, and you could be there for 10 minutes talking because they just really like English accents.
Oh, I thought of Love Actually when you said that. You know, and when Colin goes over to the US because he thinks you can find chicks really easy because of his English accent.
Yeah, it's just everyone just starts talking to you, and then as soon as they hear the accent, they want you to talk to them more. And then nobody knows where Stoke is, so I always have to say it's sort of in between Manchester and Birmingham. And they go, "Oh, Manchester! I'm in Manchester." Don't know Stoke at all. So the question that I have, which is from Saint Celestine 2023, she says, she's a budding, she wants to enter Golden Demon one day herself. So I understand why she asked this question.
Yeah.
What do you think is more important for Golden Demon, technique or originality?
I think it's technique for sure. There definitely is like a formula or like something like the judges are looking for. They look for something that is painted like really well and kind of everywhere, you know, what's the word, like consistently. So I think just nailing like the neatness of the lines and like the coverage without any bumps and smooth surfaces like that, I think that's really, really key to do it. I don't really like to paint like that too much of the time, but I knew that I'd have to edge highlight the bejesus out of this tiger shark for the judges to acknowledge it. And I spent days redoing this edge highlight just to make sure like that I hit that formula. But I prefer the originality for sure. I think I like the waterfall piece I did and like the tiger shark coming out of the hanger. So I think I managed to squeeze that in as well with like the formula, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think both are important, but you need to know the technique.
So what were your thoughts going in? I mean, how do you go about? I mean, prepping for Golden Demon, I imagine you might contradict me now and tell me it takes 5 minutes, but I imagine it would be a pretty long process. You start planning way in
Yeah,
advance how you're going
yeah.
to do it. Well,
I
what was the process you used? Did you design it all in your head and sketch it all out, or did you just go for it?
um I can't remember how I thought of it. I knew I wanted to do something tau and in small scale because I just like aircraft and stuff like that. I knew I just wanted to do something with it. And I don't know how, but I just stumbled onto this reference to Thunderbird 2 coming out the hangar. You know, from the old. It was such a good show, man. And that was about in October last year. And I planned. I started it 5 months before I went because I just knew from past experience that I need the time to have big rests and stuff like that because it really is like a kind of a draining process for me, especially as my job is painting 8 hours a day. I'd have to come home and then paint, and the last month or two I was painting until midnight. So I was doing these like 15-hour shift days. So I knew I'd have to build in that contingency time to like have mental breaks from it, you know. I had constant lessons from Andy Wardle. I had like one every few weeks or so because I was so disappointed from the waterfall piece in Fest, and I was so gutted by that, and I was just determined to succeed. So I was willing to like do anything. So I started 5 months before. I booked off 2 weeks of holiday last year to just build this thing, you know, which is that's a good chunk of time. And I got all these lessons with Andy, and we had regular check-ins and stuff like that. And I gave myself like all this time just so I could, you know, try and hopefully nail the piece and bring it. So my advice would be is for sure like start way early, as early as you can. And also I like to focus on the one piece because lots of people like to do a couple, but No, I'm gonna put all my mental energy into this one piece. I'm gonna put all my eggs in one basket, and thankfully that that approach worked.
So after you've said that, I imagine you've played down the nerve-wracking flight because obviously you're going to put your model in your hand luggage. You're not going to put that in your main luggage.
Yeah.
How does that go when it goes through the X-ray machine? Did you get asked any questions?
No, no, we don't. I think there were quite a few people had a, we had like a UK crew going through the airport. Like there's a bunch of us, and I think I was one of the last ones. So there's like, oh, it's another one. Cool, let's just put it through the machine. And I was like, yeah, that was easy, that was great. And I've heard horror stories about the American security like being really rough and stuff, but thankfully it was fine. Like it was actually quite funny because obviously we have these colourful minis and these clear through display boxes, and they're see-through, so the security doesn't have to open them. They can just see what's inside. But people just commented, oh, have you got some scorpions in there? Have you got some lizards? And we're like, no, it's Warhammer.
Yeah, it's a plastic model. It's nothing alive. Don't worry.
Mate, there's nothing like getting asked the umpteenth time, like when you're standing in a line and like like they're like, oh, what's that? And you have to be like, oh no. Have you heard of Warhammer? It's just, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, yeah, it's a lizard, whatever.
Yeah, if it makes you happy, it's a lizard. It's fine. Don't want to talk about it. Move right along. How did you find O'Hare Airport as well? Because last time I went to Chicago Airport, they were very, very aggressive security.
They were fine. They were fine. They didn't handle it. They handled them fine. Maybe it was on a day when some nice staff were.
Yeah, I've got a connecting flight from O'Hare to Minneapolis St. Paul once, and they were just herding us, and I do mean herding us from one terminal to the other. It was scary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were you were screaming at us. I thought, am I on holiday or
I'm so sorry. That's awful. That we didn't know screaming. It was very, very pleasant.
Maybe they chilled out in the last decade. That's why I asked.
Maybe.
Imagine like all these painters with like the bags with their precious miniatures in being just screamed at by security. Go down.
Yeah, I imagine it must get quite frustrating for them having like, like idiot tourists like not knowing what they're doing, and then they take it out on all the rest of us.
It's a big airport as well. I mean, there's a monorail from one terminal to the other. It's a massive airport, so it is quite confusing. So how did it feel to finally get your hands on a Golden Demon? What went through your mind? Were you expecting it? Were you quietly confident, or was it like were you really, really shocked?
Well, the chances were probable, because I was like in like the 5 commended, and then 3 of us got a trophy, so I knew that the chances are I probably would get one. But when we all stood at the front, the 5 commended people, and they called out the name of the bronze guy, the name of the silver guy, and the gold guy, and I was the silver, and it was just pure relief, I think. It was just I wish they let us take photos and stuff of it, and videos, but they wouldn't let the audience do it because when I sat back down, my mate David said like, you were like a spring, like curled up and just let off, and I think that's a pretty good way to describe it. He said that about me and Ninjon. We were just floods of relief, and it was an amazing feeling, and I was so happy that I didn't have to. I got that achievement, and I've finally got achieved the thing I wanted most in my life, for like the last couple of years, and thank goodness I don't have to do it again. Well, unless I want to, of course. But
I was just about to say, do you not want to go back and see if you can get the sword next time?
I don't think I. Oh my god, no, I can't right now. No, I can't make myself do it because of my job. Because like they're mad. The sword painters. They Do you remember the giant from Warhammer World in the resin water base with like fighting the sea dragon? Or whatever it was?
Yes.
So he spent 360 hours painting it, and that's not including the build time. And that's so many hours on a project that you just have to put in. to compete. So I don't know. I think who knows about the future, but I just can't see myself doing that. No, I want to enjoy the outdoors and stuff, you know.
Well, little purple painters. Well, Billy says Billy's got a sad face, so I think she wanted you to go for the sword. I think she's, or is that a shocked face? I can't see. One of the two. So yeah, you mentioned Ninja. Was he in the same category as you then? Because I know he went and he won a golden demon. Was he in your category as well?
No, he was an AOS squad. So totally different. There's like 13 categories, you know. But yeah, he got the bronze for that, which was really cool to see. The first YouTuber, you know, influencer dude to get his hands on one. And I was really happy for him watching him do that. And it was great to actually see someone document the process. You know, because I think that's the first like big name you get to see all the work that goes behind it. So yeah, really really happy for him.
So did you, when you got back to the UK, did you tell Lawrence you wanted a pay rise?
No, I didn't. I didn't tell him that. But I did. He was the first person I texted actually. That I won, and it was really annoying because I wanted to tell everyone at the time, but there's no signal in the hotel we're at, so I had to like walk a bit, and I had to wait a couple of hours, and he was the first person I texted, and it was really really nice to have that moment with him, because he obviously you know, supports me a lot, and he was happy for me, and we go through a lot together, me and him, so it was great to kind of celebrate that together, you know.
I mean, having met the guys, well, all the guys apart from yourself and Chef, having met the guys, you seem to be like a really tight knit little unit. I mean, I think sometimes you think that a lot of people on YouTube, it's force friendly, but I felt like you lot really get on, and you're all really good friends anyway. Do you like socialise and stuff outside of work? Are you always together, or is that just the public persona?
No, it's all real, man. Thanks for noticing. That's really cool. But yeah, I know it's like a cliche that when businesses say we're a family kind of thing, but I do actually genuinely get those kind of vibes. It's a very small team. There's like you know, 6 or 7 of us, and we all get along really really well. We celebrate each other's birthdays after work and stuff. We you know, we've done movie nights together and stuff like that, watched unboxing. You know, we talk about games we play all the time, and you know, go for KFC every. I don't go KFC every lunch. Lawrence does. He loves his chicken.
He's very
yeah, we get on
for someone who eats KFC every day. I would never have picked
All right,
him.
it's not every day, man, but it's like twice a week, mate. He puts away his chicken.
Hello, Dragon Raven. Hello. Sorry, she said hello twice, so I thought about it. Yeah. So yeah, tabletop tactics, guys. You've done a few bat reps on camera for the channel. Is it something that you enjoy doing, or do you or you do more of a behind the scenes person?
I enjoy doing it for sure. It's just my painting is needed. That time is needed to do our like humongous backlog of releases and armies we don't have. Like, we've been wanting to do a Space Marine army for so long, but this stuff just comes and gets in the way, you know. Like I've had to paint 6 boards of terrain and stuff for like our event tournaments. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's just a mountain of stuff, and hopefully when all that terrain's done, I can come back on and stuff. Like I'm painting these ghost kills for that reason, because I want to get another bat rep in. But I do enjoy it. It's nice to have a different day other than sitting down. You know, I get to stand up and interact with the guys on the camera, which is really fun. And actually have a game of 10. I think I only had like 2 so far, which is kind of crazy. I actually need to do a crash course of the rules.
Dragon Raven says, "How do you paint so good with a crying face?"
Thank you. Do it every day. I do it every day. Self-criticize, like look at your work we're doing. I know that's like a weird thing to say, but actually look at You know, don't just go through the motions of edge highlighting something because you need an edge highlight. Like, take a photo of it, zoom in, like self-analyze it. I'm obsessed with YouTube videos. I watch them every day, as much as I get my hands on. And that's how I learn a lot of stuff. You know, that's a great way of doing it. And having a bunch of painting friends is good. You can kind of post pictures in the chat and stuff and get feedback. Yeah, if you want any more tips, then feel free to give me a message.
Do you ever get? Oh, there you go. I was just gonna. Kai's just asked the question I was just about to ask. Does paint? I was just about to say something similar. Does painting for a living ever put you off painting your own minis for fun? That's
Yeah,
exactly what I was
yeah,
gonna say.
it does. I think it's kind of an unavoidable drawback of having this job, because oftentimes the last thing I want to do when painting for 8 hours a day is come home and paint again. So I have to be super into the project to do that. And thankfully, I have found projects like that, like the Sons of Horus behind me, and goals like getting the Demon and the Blackbird and stuff. But I have to be super into it. But yes, I definitely would paint more if my job was something else. But I'm grateful that I do have the drive to paint outside work. I can't even imagine the hours I put in. Like, it must be thousands. Like by now. Oh man.
Yeah, Dragon Rage just said you have the best job ever. Sort of carries over. I mean, how do you feel? Did you ever dream that you would be painting minis for a living?
No, mate. It's my dream was to be in the music industry, like first as a successful, you know, in the band or whatever. And then once I realized that was really hard, then in like a record label, and I did like an internship in London for one, and had a good time there. But that didn't work out, and Warhammer was a hobby, and I'd never dreamed that I'd be in this position now. I remember watching like the TT reports, and I copied Lawrence's Elder Army, the Ulfane Ghosts at the time. Now it's Ulfway Ghosts, and I remember linking him a picture to a race I did in his scheme, and being like starstruck when he replied back to me saying, "Oh my god, that's amazing." And yeah, I guess I never would have thought I'd end up working for him. It's absolutely mental, and I think I probably should reflect on that a bit more, because it is a really cool job.
Has there been anything? But I mean, yeah, it is a really cool job. I think most people, if they could do something that they really enjoy as a job, they'd do it. So yeah, you are kind of living the dream. But has there ever been any like painting projects you've done for this channel where you've gone, I really don't want to paint these. I'm really sick of painting these.
Yeah, of course. I'd be lying if I said if I didn't. But you know, I could be stuck in an office punching in numbers on a spreadsheet. You know, at the end of the day, it's still painting that's going towards developing my skills and contributing towards the channel, which is really important for all of us. So a bad day in the office is still a bad day. It's still, you know, it's still doing what I love.
It's still better than a good day in an office. Yeah, I get that. So I'm going to ask you the question because you weren't there on Sunday. I'm going to ask you the question that I asked the guys. I mean, I know you've only played a couple of games on channel, but who would, out of everybody in the team, now 2 people copped out of this. I'm going to ask you who you think the 2 people that copped out were. Out of all the team, who would be your favourite opponent? Who would you enjoy playing the most?
Do I answer who copped out of it first, or
No, I'll ask you after who copped out. I want to see if you cop out or if you answer honestly, and then I'm going to ask you to guess who copped out.
You put me on the spot, man. Oh.
Funnily enough, that's exactly what they said on Sunday.
I'm going to say Lawrence, because even though he's, I don't know actually. Oh God, yeah, I'll say Lawrence. He can be a very competitive player, and I've never won against him, but it's always a bunch of fun. And you know, he's my boss. We have a laugh. So Lawrence is one.
So okay. To be honest, most I think after the five of them, three of them answered, and two of them did say Lawrence. Obviously, Lawrence didn't say Lawrence, but the two of them said Lawrence. So, who were the two you think didn't answer? Gave me a diplomatic everybody.
God. Um, I, I have no idea, mate. Why didn't you tell me?
Uh, well, Beard wouldn't answer. Well, he did answer. He just said he loved playing everybody, and Katie also copped out and
Right,
wouldn't,
right,
and
right.
she said everybody.
I,
But
I feel
yeah,
the same way, but if I had to answer Lawrence, yeah.
yeah. Both Stig and Board said Lawrence.
I understand. Stig's nice, isn't he? Do you get along with him?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Stig a couple of times online. Didn't see him walking around the exhibition. I saw him on the actual podcast. But yeah, obviously, me and Stig have both got a big love for Custody, so we've got a lot of common ground there. But we both, and I commiserated with him because his custodians and had
Yeah.
met on having to do with
It's a bit
them.
rough. He's in rough time now,
Yeah,
isn't he?
yeah. There was a guy from Games Workshop there. I think he was just like staffer in the shop rather than like anyone important, anyone big high up. And he did say, "Can I ask James Workshop when am I going to get a good Codex?" And I was like, "I feel for you. I feel
Yeah.
for you, bud, because he didn't. He only done it to me once. Done it to you twice."
Oh no.
Old Eldar says, that's a good question. Who has the final say on studio colour schemes? Colour schemes? Is it collaborative, or do you all talk about it and agree Spider is right?
Um, Chef doesn't care at all. um, uh, I I feel like yeah, Lawrence Lawrence has the final say for sure because it's his business and his time and money and stuff. But I think me and him align pretty well for the most part, and we kind of get to the same conclusion quite naturally, and we have to both have the same taste and stuff. We both like red a lot, dark red. We love that. So, but he does let me go off, go a bit unchained sometimes, and like do all this wild stuff, which I really appreciate, because it's stuff like that makes the job really cool and exciting for me. But yeah, I think it's more of just a joint effort between me and him, and oftentimes I ask the guys if they think it's cool. That's about how involved they get.
And I'm going to ask. I'm going to now go back to one of the weird and wonderful questions. So Ryan Paint Party Scott, who was a guest on my last live stream,
Okay.
we said he was the Valley because between two peaks, because we had Maxine plays 40k, also plays 40k on the fortnight
Right.
before. He was one of the top competitive players with Dark Angels, which is his faction, and then we had yourself on as a Golden Demon winner. So we said he was like Wales. So he was the Valley in between two mountains. But so he did say, how gourmet would you like your meals to be when I keep you in my basement as my private painting tutor?
If I'm kept in the basement, I want like the best food you can offer me. I also want a gym down there, so I don't get really fat at the same time.
All the gourmet food.
Yeah, I want I want like a nice American burger at least once a week, like some good steak, mac and cheese, stuff like that. All cooked for me. I don't want to do any of the cooking. I hope that answers your question.
No, he's going to cook for you. He's just going to keep you in his basement so you can give him painting tips.
Okay.
And then another weird question, which we did talk about on private messenger. Why is belly button fluff a thing? Can you remember the answer that I gave? This I didn't give. Someone said.
Is it because is it something to do with the oils and the grease, and because you can't reach it, that it just collects in there or something like that?
Yeah, and the static, and and it slips down into your belly button, which isn't greasy apparently.
I
Yes,
remember like that. Yeah, I'm going to bed now. Thanks for that.
it was just one of those where I saw the question, and thought okay, and then someone actually DM'd me and went, "This is why belly button fluff exists." I was like, Wow.
We're getting the belly button iceberg kind of thing, aren't we?
Yeah, it was a whole paragraph describing belly button fluff. I was like, I don't know what you do that you know this much about belly button fluff. Well, thank you for the answer. Little people, I can't say little people. I was going to call her Billy because that's her name. Billy says she's making mac and cheese while she listens.
Hell
That's
yeah.
good. And then Darren Payne says, "Are you trying to lure Fletcher into your basement?"
You have to find me first.
So um, I want to. I was just trying to thought there. So I was just going to. So you were talking about Lawrence's flesh terrors.
Yeah.
So obviously that was. Did he get you? I mean, you weren't working for the channel as it were then.
No.
Did he commission you to do those?
Yeah, that was a freelance kind of contract thing, and he commissioned me to do those after I did the towel for him, and we had that relationship already solid, you know. Great project, like one of my favourites still.
I mean, you built the you kit bashed the Sangrum God, didn't you?
Actually, he did all the kit bashes for
Oh,
the.
did he do all the kit bashing?
He did all of it. I built all the rank and file boring stuff, you know, but all the cool characters and the Sangard and the Death Company. He did it all. So I had to go back in after him, you know, and make it all perfect and fill in all the gaps and sand it more smooth and stuff. But all the creativity was all him.
So it's quite a unique colour scheme as well that he did for those. Did he give you the brief on that? What was his brief? Was it go crazy, or did he have that specific colour scheme and everything in mind?
He gave me a reference from the Mighty Brush, I think. I don't think it was of a flesh tear. It was like of a different marine, but he liked the mood of it. He liked the really the dark shadows. He liked the glowy eyes, like the kind of battle damagey kind of look. And I did actually 3 test schemes for him. I remember that really well on these what they call the Primaris Reavers. That's it. And I was like, oh no, this one's a bit too bright. This one isn't enough contrast. And the third one, I had this. I ended up with the really. Well, I used black in the shadows and then the red, and I had these kind of edge highlighty little that I used in like kind of a chippy way to have little scratches and stuff. And that's when he said, okay, let's do this, and he locked me in to do all the flesh terrors. It's a big army, man. Big army.
Yeah, it is a big arm. I remember it being revealed, and it looked amazing. And it was just, but it wasn't. I like the fact it was. You could recognise them as flash terrors, but they didn't look like the standard flash terrors. And then everything seemed. There was a lot, like you said, there's a lot of custom stuff in there as well, which is really nice.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask you now. What just go through all the team that you work with there. I'm just curious to know, personality wise, what if you had to sum them up? It's each one of them. If you had to sum them up in a couple of words, how would you describe them to somebody? You've got a lot of unique personalities there.
Okay.
So what's their defining characteristic?
Well, the first one's really easy. So. Bar James, I'd say just energy, just pure, like unrestricted energy. Just the loudest person I've probably ever met. But when he enters the room, he puts a smile on your face, you know. So I'd say that about Bard. Beard is goofy, I'd say. Lovable goof. I don't know. I guess. Chef is sarcastic and intelligent. That's the 2 words for him. Katie is I struggle with. I've been asked this before, and I struggle with Katie. I don't. Fierce, maybe fierce, and
I'd take fierce. Yeah,
I'll leave it. I'll leave
it at fierce. Yeah.
Spider is tormentor and psychopath. No. Leader, I'd say the best word for spider. Leader and friend. And am I missing anyone out?
Well,
Um,
you've got Stig, haven't you? But he's part time. But I
Stig.
feel like Stig's the more reserved member of the group. I feel like he's quite reserved compared to the others. Or that could just because the others are really like.
You know, I feel like I'm the most reserved member of the group, in all honesty. Stig is just, I don't really have a word, but he's nice, easy to chat to, I think. That's what I'd say about Stig.
Yeah, he seems pretty
Yeah.
laid back. Seems pretty laid back. So outside, when you're not coming towards the end now, obviously. So when you're not painting, what do you actually enjoy doing? What do you do to relax when you haven't got a brush in your hand?
Other than the boring answers like Netflix and stuff like that, I'd say I, I I like going to the gym quite a lot, and I used to be really into that, but that kind of took a back seat over the last few months with all these competitions. So I'm finally getting back into it, and so I'd say gym, same kind of thing of guitar, but that's more of a long-term thing. Like I really haven't picked that up for years, and I'm looking to do that again. So guitar, beer garden, done.
So would you finally, before we go, painting? If you could only do one, painting or playing, what would it be? If someone would paint all your minis, someone's asked a question. Kai's asked some question as well before we go. But if you could only do one, if it was painting or playing, so the playing scenario is all your models are painted, and you can just play all the time, or the other scenario is you can't play, but you get to paint all the models you want to paint. Which would you choose?
Oh, I thought you were saying plane, as in what plane would you do?
Oh no. Yeah, well, you can answer that as well if you like. But no,
Sorry, can you repeat
no,
the question? I got really confused.
no, that's okay. It's probably my accent. So if you could only play like whatever your chosen game is, 40K, AOS,
Yeah.
whatever, but all your miniatures are painted for you, so you were never fielding grey plastic because we'd never do that. Or alternatively, you would never be able to play a game again, but you could paint every single favorite mini you'd ever had. What would you choose? What's your favorite thing?
Obviously, yeah, no question about it. I love the hobby for the painting. I do like to play, but I don't even know what I'd do if I didn't paint, man. It's quite freaked me out.
And then Kai has just asked, which one technique and or tool leveled up your painting the most?
um, ugh. I think volumetric highlighting. I think, which is basically when when I think I don't know, but when someone says highlighting, I think most people think of doing like an edge highlight, like on an armor, you know what I mean, like going around the edge, and that's what they think of when they say highlight. But highlight to me means drawing like the natural kind of highlight, the way light falls on like a sphere, like making it smaller and smaller towards the top and brighter. And I think learning how to do stuff like that, and learning about how light falls and shapes like cylinders and spheres and stuff, and representing that on a miniature is what has been the key to my progression.
And just before we wrap up, because we've been going for just over an hour now, and I'm aware that you've been painting for 8 hours, and
That's okay.
So, what's in the future for Fletcher? What have you got? Any big plans? Anything coming up that you want to talk about?
Oh, that's a nice question. Thank you. Golden Demon's taken a very long, and competitions are taking a very long backseat for now. I think I've achieved what I wanted to. The Blackbird was a bonus, but I need a good long break from that kind of painting, because it's really difficult for me. And I want to do some more fun painting. So what I've got lined up is some more towels to play on the channel. I got the Sons of Horus. I'm going to finally paint 3K of them. to have a game with some buddies. I'm starting a guard army based on the French World War I uniform, which is going to be really cool, I think. And yeah, that's it for now. I'm not going to say anymore. I think those are three pretty big things already. So
Yeah,
we'll just leave it there.
that's a lot. That's probably more than I could achieve in a few years, let alone in the next 12 months. It's been great talking to you, Fletcher. Thank you very much for coming on. For those who live under a rock, where can they find you? Where can people find you?
They can find me on www.tabletoptactics.tv for painting tutorials and stuff like that. You can also find me here on Fletcher's_painting on Instagram. I'm on my Facebook, Fletcher Giles Miniature Painting. So you got either the Tabletop Tactics or my name to follow. If you Google that, something will come up. Probably, I don't know. Yeah, that's it.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. I would like to say it was nice to see you, but I haven't been able to see you. But I will
One
see
day.
you on see you on the playback. And next time you're at an expo that I'm at, then we need to meet up for a chat. Definitely.
Yes, let's go for a beer, mate. I'd love to do that.
No problems at all. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for everybody who asked questions and who sent questions in. And we'll see you again on the next one. Bye bye.